Hey everybody, it's Juanita and welcome back to Mrs. Webb's house and welcome to my third video of my seasoning and sauce packet challenge. Tonight we are going to be making good old-fashioned meatloaf. So come join me. Hey guys, okay, so tonight we are going to make McCormick Meatloaf. It's this right here, and I guess it's your typical meatloaf recipe. To look on the back here, it says I already have my 2 pounds of ground beef in here and my 2 eggs. It calls for a half a cup of milk, a fourth of a cup of breadcrumbs, and a half a cup of ketchup, and the ketchup is for the top. And you put this seasoning in here, mix it all together. So I guess that's what I'm gonna do. Cut this open. All right, then we're gonna see what it smells like. Oh, it smells really good. It's kind of paprika-y. Paprika-y, if that's a word. I don't know if you can see. See? It's kind of, it smells really good. So I'm gonna just shake this over the meatloaf. Over the ground beef like that. Then it calls for a fourth of a cup of breadcrumbs. Now to me that doesn't seem like enough breadcrumbs because it would be, you know, pretty dense, but we'll go with it for the beginning and see what we get. So it's a fourth of a cup of breadcrumbs. Just shake that in there. Then it calls for a half a cup of milk. Now I don't usually put milk in my meatloaf. If you do, comment down below and let me know what binders you use. I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay, so there we go. And a half a cup of milk. So I'm gonna set this down and we're gonna get into this, mixing this all together. Now when I mix up meatloaf, I always like to leave one hand clean and free because it'll be something else I need to go back for. Some more seasoning or breadcrumbs or whatever it is. So when you mix up meatloaf, try your best to mix it up with just one hand. So that way you don't have to wipe your hands off. You got more mess, you know, that kind of thing. Well, look at that. I didn't think that that would be enough breadcrumbs, but apparently it is. It's, you know, mixing together really nicely. It doesn't feel too thick, you know, like meatloaf would be too dense because it doesn't have enough of like a filler, but it actually feels pretty good. Blending in these seasonings, getting everything together. I don't know. I guess I'll leave it the way it is. It smells really good though. I would think that I would need just a little more breadcrumbs because it seems a little wet still. I still have to mix in some stuff here, but it still seems a bit wet, but I think I'm gonna trust the recipe. Oh yeah, it came together really nice in a nice little ball. Okay. Trust the recipe. Fold it over. Blend in all the seasoning and the egg and everything. Okay. Alright, that looks good. See if it holds together in a lump like that, like you can smooth out the meat, then you know it'll cook together in a loaf. You know, if you still have cracks like in your meat, it's too dry and you need to add a little more you need to add a little moisture to it, but this looks pretty good. Alrighty, well, let me get the pan over here, slide some of this stuff out of the way, and then I'm going to pull my pan down. Now I do not use a loaf pan, as you can see, for my meatloaf. I use a 9x9. We just like to be able to cut out a square, put it on the plate, and keep it moving. Okay, so that's usually what we do. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna roll that out. and press this in the corners. Nice. It has a really good bouncy feel to it, which is good. And I don't know if I said in the beginning, but this is 80-20 ground beef, so this is going to leave a bit of fat in here. We'll drain it off once it's cooked, and then we'll give it a taste. Now I'm going to make a complete meal with this because this is what we're having for dinner. So we're going to have some julienne au gratin potatoes with this and some succotash. So once I'm finished getting this in the oven, I'll cook that up and bring you guys along. Because yes, my stove is fixed. Yay! Jazz hands. My stove is fixed. I'm so happy my stove is fixed. But my foot's still in the boot. So, alright. So there we go. Use my thumb and fingers to pat that out. Now I'm going to wipe my hands off with this towel so that I can finish the rest. And yes, I'm definitely going to wash this towel when I'm finished with it because it'll have that residue of the meat. So always be careful. Try not to cross-contaminate. Now, then it calls for a half a cup of ketchup. Now, we don't usually just use a half a cup. We usually make a whole layer of ketchup on top of our meatloaf. So don't be shocked and amazed when you see how I do this. But this is usually what we do before we cook it. Yes, it is a lot of ketchup. You're absolutely right. But when it cooks down, it makes this wonderful tomatoey crust on top. And we love it. So, okay, there we go. No, this is not healthy, but it tastes delicious. Trust me. Okay. All right, there we go. There's the ketchup. And we're going to put this in the oven on 375 for 1 hour. For 1 hour. And see how it comes out. All right, guys. See you in a little bit. Okay guys, I am getting ready to make the sides to dinner. Back here I have some succotash. Some people put tomatoes in theirs, but I just use lima beans, a can of lima beans undrained, and a can of corn drained, and put that in a pot. So I'm making succotash with that. Put in about, I don't know, it's about a half a stick of butter. There we go. Then I'm going to shake in a good amount of pepper. Oh, no, not that side. That's the spoon side. I'll be making a mess. Then I'm going to shake in a good amount of pepper. That gives this particular combination a really nice flavor. And then just give it a stir. There we go. Mix everything together. So the butter's going to melt in there. This is on high. The butter's going to melt. Oof, wrong pot lid. There we go. Butter's going to melt. Seasoning and everything is going to be delicious. Now we're going to have some julienne potatoes. That's this right here. And this is the cheese mix for it. I've already turned on the stove so that I can get ready to heat up the milk and the water. Now in here there are 2 cups of milk and 1/4 of a cup of, 2 cups of milk and a half a cup of water. 2 cups of water and a half a cup of milk. That's what I'm trying to do. Let me turn this off for a second because I gotta open this and it doesn't want to open for me. Give me 1 second. See if I can get this open. There we go. That's the cheese sauce right there. Making a mess, flying cheese sauce everywhere. But this is real life, real cooking. You know, real life, real cooking. So I'm going to put this back on about 6 or 8. And I'm going to pour the cheese sauce into the water and milk. There we go, like that. Then we're just gonna whisk this around until the cheese sauce is incorporated in the water and the milk. And you can see there's little lumps in here, but those will boil out as time goes on. There we go. There we go. So now I mix the cheese sauce in there. Let me get a few of these little bigger lumps mashed out. Then I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter into this and get this to melt through. Now on the box, it does say to do this way. It says to add the water, the milk, and the cheese, and the butter, and the potatoes. But I like to wait until the liquids boil and the butter's melted before I add the potatoes into it. I noticed that too with like Hamburger Helper. It says just put everything in there all at one time, but then the noodles overcook or the potatoes overcook and it's really mushy. So I don't really like that. So giving this another stir. The butter's almost completely melted. And once the butter is completely melted and I see this come to a boil, I'm going to put in the potatoes. So let me get the potatoes open and ready to go. Oh my gosh. Okay, I do not want to spray julienne potatoes everywhere. Freeze dried julienne potatoes. There we go. So I got that open enough. And this looks really good. Butter's almost finished melting. I am so excited, you guys, that this burner is fixed because now all of my burners work really well. Before they didn't because, you know, this one was broken. I think they were all connected. So, yeah. Alrighty, there we go. And this isn't exactly boiling yet, but I don't want the butter, I don't want the milk to curdle. So as you can see, it's got a healthy steam coming off of it. So I'm just going to add in the julienne potatoes. Get those all in there. There we go. There we go. Get those all in there. And then give this a good stir. Oh, that looks amazing. It's all in there, nice and creamy. The cheese sauce is getting very thick. There we go. Now see back here, my succotash is boiling. So then what I do is turn that down to low and just let that go for itself. Now you can see here, this is starting to boil and bubble. And then what we're gonna do is just reduce the heat on this because this is bubbling. Reduce the heat to about 2, I would say. Place the top on it and let it cook for 15 minutes. Alrighty, these are my sides. Okay guys, alrighty, dinner is served. Now this right here is the meatloaf. And yes, I let it cool. But there it is. Look at how good that top crust looks. Oh, it smells amazing. Okay, so there's the meatloaf. Here are our julienne potatoes. You can see nice and thick and creamy. Look at that. Just nice, thick, creamy potatoes. And our succotash right back there. All right, I'm gonna get the plate ready and give it a taste. Okay, friends, now it's time for the taste test. All right, let me show you my plate here. Here's my plate. Look at the potatoes, the succotash, and the meatloaf back there. Looks scrumptious. I'm going to give it a taste and see what it tastes like. Oh, this is hot too. So let me just cut off a piece of meatloaf. Taste that by itself first. Oh, that's good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. I like the seasoning in it. It has a good flavor to it. This plate is hot. I'm trying to hold it. Here we go. There we go. So then let me get a taste of the potatoes. Delicious. Then some succotash. Okay. This is a very good dinner. And this tastes delicious. The meatloaf is moist and tender. I thought it would be, I don't know. I thought it would need a little bit more, but it doesn't. The ketchup on top makes a perfect crust. I make my meatloaf like that every single time. I just squirt lines of ketchup across the top to make just a crust, and it's delicious. So, it's very good. Okay. Okay. So that's another thumbs up. That's delicious. And that's what we're going to have for dinner. Thank you guys for joining me for my 3rd episode of my seasoning and sauce packet challenge. Join me again for the 4th episode. Please subscribe so you can see all of these videos and get ideas for dinner. Okay guys, thanks. Bye.